Day get together. We are doing a series, 10 classes on Introduction to the Tarot. And after we complete the coursework, we'll be doing our HCRV. We're starting to rotate because my students want more classes and they want to take a break from HCRV and instead focus on the cards, which of course we can do. And congratulations to us. We're at 26,000 people. So that's cool. Let me see if I can find everybody here. I'm going to open the stream. I had a really nice nap. Anybody besides me just needs a nap, where maybe, I've always been like this. This is I'm going to go ahead and have the stream be public. If anyone would like to join our private salon to discuss psychic readings, it happens on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Like I said, we're doing a 10-week course on tarot card reading. We did play a little bit with the Debbie Brady is here, creative director. Also, she heads our fan pages. We're grateful to see her here. Oh, hi, Wendy. Yeah, so I didn't put it on members. It was public, and so I think we're just going to hang out and have it be real casual today. And the first thing I'd like you to do once you say hi to everybody and take a seat is I'd like you to go and get your tarot cards, whichever deck that you happen to be using. What we usually do is we get together and we hang. And the first thing you're going to do is begin the process of separating your cards. We do that first thing of every class. It usually takes about 5 minutes, and it's a great little way. You can separate them before class, but you can't sleep if the sun is up. Well, the sun goes down here at 3:30, but I've been getting up early, like 4 in the morning, 4:30, making a cup of coffee when it's quiet, doing some meditation, studying, cleaning, trying to keep the house nice and neat. I went to the store, and because of the snowstorm, there's no food in Safeway. There's almost no food in Safeway. So, and I'm just kind of like going with the fact that we're snowed in. So I went, and there was no chicken. The only thing they had was frozen turkeys. And I'm one person, and I just was looking at that frozen turkey, and I thought, why not? Why not just buy the whole darn thing? And well, it's defrosting. I might, I'm debating tomorrow. I think I want spaghetti bolognese tomorrow. That's what I think I'm headed towards. So the turkey will probably be later in the week. I'll bake it. You slice it, you freeze it, and I think I might give the rest to people in the building. It's actually, not an expensive thing to do. If you buy a whole turkey, say it's $28, but you're talking about a massive amount of meals. You can bake, you can chop it up and put it in little things and freeze it. And if it's stored properly, it's going to taste great. And then you've got literally enough turkey for like a month if you're a single person. So you're talking $28 for a month worth of turkey. So it's like, oh my God, you bought a whole turkey. That's expensive. Well, break down the math, it actually isn't. So I went ahead and I did that. Okay, so let's talk now about the tarot. I think everybody is only 55 of us. So today what I did was I actually did make chicken soup. They didn't have chicken, but so I bought a ton of vegetables because they did have some vegetables, and I decided to try. They had no zucchinis. I mean, it was really crazy. It was the vegetables that nobody buys, right? Or people just don't buy very often. But the root vegetables are in season right now. So I bought a rutabaga. I had some cabbage, onions, carrots, celery, potatoes, and I made and they'd had no chicken, but here's the trick. They had canned turkey breast, a large can of canned turkey breast. So I just bought that. It's like, oh my God, there's no chicken. Well, did you go to the canned? See, this is the Victorians, right? They can everything, right? You cook it right into the can, it's going to taste fine. So no one thought to go over to the canned tuna and the canned chickens, and there was a large, extra large of canned white meat chicken, skinless. So, right up my alley, it's going to have the lowest fat percentage, right? And so it made a beautiful chicken soup. I had that, and I had low-fat organic chicken broth. So the thing is if you're going to do that, don't add salt. That's the other thing. All right, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the empath prayer, and then we're going to show you how to use the cards. Maybe we'll do some readings for people too today. Sound good? Okay. Join along if you know the prayer. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. Okay, so, no, this is Tarot training. We're going to do this for a couple weeks until you guys get sick of it, and then we will switch back to HCRV, but we will be using HCRV quick technique. So get your deck, and the first thing I want you to do is we're going to go ahead and separate. So when we talk about separating the cards, the first thing you want to do is to remove your major arcana deck. All right, so last time we were together, we separated the major suits, but today I just want you to take out all your major arcana. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Good to see everybody. And don't feel like you have to rush. There's nobody here but us chickens. Just want to go ahead and separate those out. And you're starting with 0, being the Fool. Wow. I just had a ton of major arcanas all in the same area. That was kind of interesting. Like 5 of them in a row. That doesn't happen very often. Thank you, Debbie. And we want people to publicly know, because I have been asked by writers, etc., uh, who wrote the Empath's Prayer, if you can legally republish. Yes, the Empath's Prayer is a collective venture. Nobody wrote. See how strange the world works? Nobody wrote the Empath's Prayer. We got together 4 or 5 years ago, and people asked me to start doing prayers. And people, you chose the word, I think, because it's spiritually neutral. I didn't write the book. These are your images. I simply listened to what you asked me to do. So one of you asked for white light protection. And so we started praying for white light protection. Another person said, white light protection for all of us. So what happens with a situation like that, if you're studying folk stories, right? Like how people construct a story. You have a person telling folk stories, right? Um, One of the things we learn historically is that the way to do that is by the stories are often co-created by the audience. So somebody says, I caught a big fish, and the audience laughs. Then that encourages the storyteller to say, no, it really, you see, there's this back and forth. Like if you've seen church music, right? The call of worship, one person will say amen, another one will say amen, and you get this nice co-creation of the music. And that's kind of what you see in the Empath's Prayer, because we really cannot say anyone wrote it. How could you say anyone wrote it, right? Under such bizarre circumstances, right? It's not really bizarre, it's just a bunch of people getting together wanting to create a good vibe, right? And so what I did is I just stepped back from the process and let you guys do your thing, right? And I think the entire Empath's Prayer, I think we did a couple versions, or it was moderated, it was switched around a couple times. How long did it take us? Take us about a couple months or something? I don't remember. But I think we stuck. When did we get to it? It was right around the time when Epstein got arrested. I remember that because everybody was asking me to pray even before I went into Epstein's energy, and for white light protection and stuff. And I think that it was right around then that we started really developing it. I remember that. You guys would not let me open his cards until, and rightly so. I mean, talk about a dark energy. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm struggling today. I don't know why I'm still waking up. Did anyone besides me have an app? I just was crashing. Okay, who's done? Who's got, okay, so you should have your major arcana. Who all here co-created that? Yeah, I think Debbie was around. Any of you old timers remember that? I know Geocosmic was one of the co-creators because I remember her asking for, she was having strife with people. She was like, could we? That was actually included later to the empath's prayer. When we asked for protection for those we may have strife with, that was Geocosmic Valentine who asked for that. I just love it. I love the idea that we did that together. Yeah. Oh yes, I remember, Joyce. You were here. I think you were there. Who was the person? Somebody had requested Akashic Records, the term Akashic Records. Um, every single term, was all, yeah, beautiful stuff, right? Okay, so if you would like to join our private salon on Wednesdays where we teach the cards and remote viewing, it's at the Elders and Empaths level. It costs $9.99 a month, and the money goes back into keeping the channel up and running, paying our actors, etc. Anyway, what else was I going to say about that? But today is open, so people can see the private salon. But if you want to join us, we meet the Elders and the Empaths. We meet to discuss being a witch, basically. Would you say we're witches, darlings? Yes, we talk about herbal medicine quite a bit and the cards. You guys get to come into my world, don't you? Yes. You get to hang out with the witch for a little bit, right? Yes, membership starts at $2.99, and we do have a private salon on Saturdays with private readings for people at the $2.99 level. That's true. If you want training, I think it's on. All right. So once you get it in order, you're going to have 22 cards, and it goes from 0, 1. And so now just go ahead and put it in order. We're not going to get through all the major arcana today. Probably take 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get through it, and then we'll start on the minor arcana. Everybody done? You all done organizing your cards? Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the major arcana. As I understand it, every tarot card reader is a little bit different, but there are some basics that people talk about. Really? Yeah, 22. That's right. Because 21 is the world. Yeah. Yeah, Joyce, get your cards organized and take your major arcanas out and put them in order. So the first thing you have to learn about life is that life is a journey, right? And it's a journey that goes round and round. It's the circle of life. And when we think about that from a Kabbalistic perspective, it's very, very different than how we traditionally think of. Hold on, I'm going to get my stuff. Oh, there it is. So Kabbalistically, we think of life not as a forward trajectory so much as a circle. You know, time is a circle in Kabbalah, right? So it's this moving circle of energy, and it has 4 seasons. And so every time you go round and round and round the circle of life, you find yourself at the same exact energies you were in at that time the year before, right? So you're just going back and forth. I mean, you're just going around and around and around the same energies, right? But every time you go around the energies, there's an opportunity for you to learn something, right? That you didn't learn the time before. For example, when you study the Torah, they have different Parsha Shavua, portions of the week. You know, we have different portions, and we have the portions divided so that you're completed by the end of the year in Judaism, right? And it's a lunar calendar, so it's based on the seasons of the moon because they were what do they call it? Agriculturalist, right? So that's the first thing we want you to think about. We want you to think about life as a circle, the circle of life. All right. This is a theme you're going to be seeing a lot in the cards, a lot in Kabbalah, right? Put that over there for now. We'll come back to it. So in the journey of life, you begin a journey, right? And you choose to incarnate into this world. And part of agreeing to incarnate into this world is that you're going to be met with challenges so that you can experience what it is to be alive in this world, right? So the fool takes a leap of faith and decides to incarnate into this world with all of the problems that come with being alive and being a human being. Now, when we examine the imagery, and I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite. Other cards may be slightly different, but I tend to go with the Rider-Waite. So it's nice when you look at the imagery and some of the symbolisms on the Rider-Waite. The dog is barking, warning this individual that they're about to fall or potentially be in a dangerous situation. The other thing I like about the Fool is that he's kind of wrapped up in just the process of the adventure more so than necessarily what's going to happen to him. Yeah. There are some interesting imagery also that people have talked about. The bag that he carries. People have asked me to talk about the bag that the Fool carries. Some interpretations have been that the bag exists because we carry baggage, right? So if you're thinking about it being a circle of life, if you're thinking about multiple incarnations, then you're bringing your baggage from maybe from a previous lifetime. That's one way of viewing it. The other way of viewing it is that it's the tools and the things you will need on your adventure, which I think is more in keeping with my interpretation rather than, well, here's my baggage. I mean, yeah, there's baggage, but I like this idea of packing a bunch of tools. You choose to come into this world and you're going to be taking some tools with you. Interpretations of the flower, again, the sweet stuff of life is one interpretation, that this individual wants to go experience the sweet things of life. And so, as a result, that's what the flower means. So he's got his tools that he's going to need for his adventure. He's being given a warning to be careful. But he's so enamored with life and the sweet things of life, which is symbolized by the flower, that he's willing to go on his adventures. Anybody have any questions about the first archetype and what it could symbolize for you, or for anyone who uses that particular card? Okay, and then in terms of interpretations, to be foolish is one, but I think of it more as trust. It's really a card that makes me feel, when I look into it, that I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to trust that this is going to work out, right? Yeah. So I just feel, when I go into this energy, like I'm just going to trust that everything is going to work out. Of course, in life, it doesn't always work out. But what's more important is that the person is willing to go on the adventure. All right. So we talked about the first interpretation being that the bag of tricks is really the tools that you need when you incarnate into this world. So let's talk about some of those tools. Anybody want to talk about what some of those tools would be? Oh, I like what Debbie's saying about the light. Yeah, small and light. So if you go into this idea that he's packing tools, then tools can be anything that you're going to use on your adventure, right? So it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, right? When we go into unveiling what is inside and opening up the tools, we find ourselves at the next adventure, which is the magician. He has opened his bag of tricks, hasn't he? So the fool goes on a journey. He unfurls his bag of tools that he's going to need on his adventure. Maybe the tools he will need is to have good intelligence, the ability to be patient, right? To fast, to wait, like Siddhartha Gautama, right? And from this knowledge of learning how to use these tools, he is able to manifest things in the world. You know, he starts to play with the energy. Yeah, so when we look, so that's what we can also talk about now, is the tools that are taken out. I believe it's the tools, right? That this is a person going on an adventure, and that the goal is to master this world. And so it starts as a student going to class. This is another and I like that too, because I can really relate to that. So he's a little schoolboy, and he's got his sack lunch, and he's got his little homework, blah, 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 and he's off to the class. And so then he arrives to Hogwarts or wherever he's going to work, and then he puts everything out on the table, and he's sitting in class. I'm ready to learn how to be a good magician at Hogwarts, right? So that's another, that works for me, right? Now, if you're looking at what he's going to, hold on. Yeah, Debbie, good. Like the dog also gives a warning. Excuse me. Kitty cat is back. Where my cat went to? So how are we doing on time? Yeah, we're fine. Different interpretations. Well, the cup is water, right? So the cup is healing. It's water. It's the elixir. It's what we see in the cups, right? Because we have, once we get through the major arcana, we'll go back again to the minor arcana. which is pentacles and cups and wands and swords. Yeah. So we see the cup, the pentacle, and the sword, and he's holding the wand. So you guys want to talk about that? Debbie, you seem to be pretty educated on this subject. Others? Anybody else? Why do you think that they used those elements? Why were those elements required in order to balance the magician's table? You guys want to talk about that? The elements? Very good, Debbie. Great contribution. And also a great play of the elements and the four directions, right? So we've talked about heart-centered remote viewing quite a bit. We teach a class on it. Anybody here know Qigong? Qigong. So playing with energies in order to heal, in order to move energy around. Yes, very good, Joyce. The elements are adjectives. Boy, you guys are damn smart. I like it. He's got all of his energies. He's got water. He's got, look at that fire wand he's holding. Y'all seen my fire wand? I don't know if my fire wand, I got a hell of a fire wand. That's when you want to do some serious damage. You come after people with a fire wand. Fire wands sometimes will look like a candelabra. You can see his actually is burning at both ends. So that would be an example. You guys want to see my fire wand? Let's see if I can, I'll show you guys a traditional witch's fire wand. I've made one. You're seeing it all, aren't you? You know, you're really seeing it all. Whimsy lets you see it all in her world, right? Okay, so you may, if you're studying elements and you're working with energies, you may choose to make your wand. Now, each of us has a different way we want to make our wand and different things we are attracted to. Some witches would go and they would break finding your stick that is going to be used as your fire wand is in and of itself pretty amazing. But they were trimming the trees at Portland U, and this was a beautiful white birch that I found and took it home. I dried it, and then I peeled the outer layer, and this was a gorgeous white. There was a gorgeous white birch. Birch is one of the more traditional, one of the most common woods used to make a staff is actually birch. Now I've got others as well. I've got one made of rose. I gave somebody. It had 3 yonis on it. Sometime you'll see a tree will have a yoni on it. And yonis are created on trees when the tree is trying to protect itself. Whoops, I apologize. You'll get those yonis. Well, kind of like that. But she was working a lot with female energy. But what you'll get is you'll get these yonis, female energy on trees, and it's where the damage may have happened and it reheals. So we were at the Rose Garden in Portland, Oregon, and staffs made of roses are very, very powerful. A lot of people don't like to use rosewood because when you peel it, it creates like a lot of dust and stuff. So I had to use gloves when I prepped it for her. I think she was looking for love. The fact that it had 3 yonis on it, I mean, it was a very powerful staff that I made for her. But so after I peeled it, I boiled some of the herbs that I used to stain things, and this stain was made with black walnuts, cloves, And the reason why those were the stains I used was because they are associated with protection, right? So black walnut, right, is used for protection. Cloves are used for protection. And they create a beautiful stain. And so this was stained with that beautiful protective stain. Some people will use black tea to stain their wood. Oh, would I reverse talk? Yeah, I can do whatever you guys like. Let's see here. What are we doing here? Video. Okay, so some of the symbols that you may want to put on your staff if you are on the magician's path, I would say start with a staff. If you're really serious about this and you want to enjoy this, is to go get yourself a piece of wood, dry it, and make your staff. Now, this particular staff, I like it because I chose the end to be, my cat ate it, but it was supposed to be a red nail to when you accuse or if you're if you're going into battle with someone, you'll often use a Queen of Wands. It's heavily associated with the fire deities. You can see here some of the deities that I've chosen. The archetypes are Kali, right, which is very destructive. Kali destroys. Lilith, which is also can be considered a strong female energy and destructive. This is fire, fire burns. Now, if you're looking at the symbol over here, I have the justice. I made the justice scales. There's Durga, Ma Durga. It's an aspect of Kali. And that the wand belongs to you. You may choose to sign it. Other symbols, we have, again here, I have another signature I carved. My signature. Then just little pretty designs. I bought woodworking tools I went to an art store and I bought little carving things and I got really into it and I had a lot of fun. And then it's cured, you let it cure. You may choose to burn a candle and pray for a week with it just to let it absorb the energies. And, I don't touch it very often. I don't do much with it, but I have used it in meditations, when I was struggling with some justice issues, right? Where I just was raging against injustice. I often would sit in meditation holding it just, to help me continue to fight for justice, right? So those are some of the things I do with my beautiful archetype. A beautiful wand. So going back to the imagery of the, let's go back to it. What am I doing? Am I okay? Okay, yes. Debbie is contributing quite a bit here. Thank you, Debbie. So the fire wand, the fire element, the year starts in spring, not January traditionally. That was the time when the world began, right? It was spring, around March 20th. The spring solstice, right? So we start with wands. Now in Judaism, it's the month of Nisan and Adar. So Adar is Pisces, And yeah, I think Adar is the first month. Yeah. Is it Adar? Yeah. No, Adar is Pisces Aries. So it goes from the 12th to the first sign. And then we talked about the pentacles, which is of the earth. So we have fire, the fire element, which is sun. We have the pentacles, which is earth. Again, you're trying to balance the energies. You have the water, which also has healing aspects, the ability to heal. It's also fluid. If you're asking me as a reader if to tell time, to use cards to tell time, you will never be able to tell time with a water card. Water cards are not used to tell time, and that's because of the fluidity of water. It goes with the flow. So when people say, when will I receive? And I wind up with a cup as an outcome, I have to tell my client the truth. I just go with the flow, because I cannot give you, I have no indication on time if I get a cup. You cannot tell time by cup. When you get water, it's going to happen in its own time, baby. And if something blocks the flow, or, well, it is what it is, it's really a frustrating element if you're trying to give people specifics, because it's more about healing, and it's more about healing waters, sacred waters, etc. The sword is made of metal. It's the metal element. Now, we've talked about Chinese medicine a lot, and we particularly when I start to show you folks the herbs, and we've also talked about how the elements are associated in Chinese medicine, right? Let's talk a little bit about that. Anybody here know anything about Chinese medicine? Got a lot going on here, don't I? Oh, have fun with it. That's what I always tell people. I'm overwhelmed. That's why I'm going really slow, because someone had mentioned that I go too fast sometimes. So I don't want you guys feeling overwhelmed about anything. We can take look. It's your class. If you guys want to slow down, like we're going slow now. I think that's fine. I don't have to rush the classes. Okay, so here is a medicine chart. This is a Chinese medical chart. I'll see that. And we have the time of day, but I don't know if we have the seasons. Do we have the seasons here? Let me see if I can find the seasons. Stomach, spleen, energy over here is usually Indian summer. Wow, that doesn't have the seasons. Let me see if I can get you something better. Oh, that looks cute. Let me look at that one. I think I'm just going to show you guys this one, because I think this one might actually. Yeah, people have. I've had some requests and emails that I slow down. People are just feeling like, what's the rush? I was going a little too fast. No one needs to rush. Okay, so if you take a look at the elements, here's another example. We can see that the elements in Chinese metal look familiar. Take a good look. You want to talk about it? Pretty amazing, huh? How did that happen, Dr. Anderson? All right, so let's do it. So water We feed things, right? We feed things, and water, if we feed something water, what happens? It grows, right? And so the wood, water gives birth to the trees, the wood that grows, right? And what does wood give birth to? If you light some wood on fire, what right? So wood can produce fire. Makes sense? What does fire produce? Well, if you were to dig in the earth really deep and get to the layer, which is the layer of the clay, right? The earthen pots. You might dig those up. You might wash it and separate the rocks until you end up making that's what they would do. They would make they would make the clay really wet, and then they would pick out the rocks, make it as wet as possible, and then sift the rocks, and then this wet sediment would slowly dry and crack, and you know you would turn it into something. But the clay is then heated. The earth is heated, fire, and you wind up with a vessel, right? But earth also produces something. When we dig into the earth, we find metal, right? Iron and various different types of elements, right? So earth gives birth to metal, and metal gives birth to water. Metal gives birth to water because if you look at the shine of metal, it shines like water. That shiny kind of metal. Uh, it makes me think of, quantum physics, right? In the sense that light is, light is both a wave and a particle, right? So um, metal and water have that, right? Sometimes it's stationary, sometimes it's a wave, and you have that kind of interesting relationship between metal and water. So now we talk about agitations, how each of the elements can actually attack one another. And that, what you're going to look at now, has to do with the first thing we did is we went in a circle, right? Water gives birth to wood. Wood gives birth to fire. Fire gives birth to earth. Earth gives birth to metal. Metal gives gives birth to water. Water feeds the earth. No, water feeds the plant, which produces the wood. The wood produces the feed for the fire. The fire produces the feed to make the earth. The earth produces the metal, right? And the metal, its liquid expression is water. So metal, if you think about metal, if you look at the elements again, he's got that sword, right? That sword or metal energy is used to cut wood. So how do we control the wood? We cut it with the metal. So metal controls wood. What controls earth? Wood controls earth. It's interesting because the way that earth controls wood is by covering up the earth. So you take a stack of wood and you put it on top of the earth, and it covers it's kind of very simple. You just put it on top of the earth. And then earth controls water, right? It soaks it up, right? You put some water in the earth, and, right? So it takes on the water. And water puts out fire, right? And fire melts metal. You see how this works? Earth sucks up the water. The water puts out the fire. The fire melts the metal. The metal chops the wood. The wood covers the earth. The point that they're trying to make is that everything is in balance. 4 suits, and that's because fire and wood are actually one element. The wands and fire are one element. And metal and air are one element. That's why you'll see clouds in the imagery of the Knight of Swords, the King of Swords. It said the clouds are floating around, and that's because there's a relationship between metal and air being pretty much one and the same, and with wood and fire being pretty much one and the same. If you look at the fire wand, right, because the wood is feeding the fire, so it can get confusing, but just when you have a note on metal, I want you guys to also say plus air or ethers. And when you have the wood, I want you to put plus fire. And so it's it's 6 contained within 4 in the major arcana. Does that make sense? Any questions about that for you guys? Yeah, you're right. This is a nicer pace. I feel like we're going at a nice energy rhythm, and I'm not like just barking information. Okay, I'm getting some good questions here. Oh, yeah, Debbie's got it. Yeah, good. Okay, well, all righty then. All right, last thing I wanted to, a couple more things I wanted to say. What do y'all think about the stance of the magician? Does that look anything like Qigong? If so, why? What is the magician doing? They've got all their tools, which are associated with the 4 elements, aka 6 elements, right? Well, 2 combined, air and metal, fire and wood, right? What's going on? What is this? What is that? It's very important in Qigong. It's very important in HCRV. What's this? Hi, baby. You coming up to be with me? Coming? You coming? Where's you going? Come on. Come here. Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. Honey, are you coming? Come on. Let's go. Get out. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Come on. You coming? Come on. Where you go? Come on. Come on. You okay? You got stuck? Want me to pick you up? You okay? Come on. You coming? She's getting frustrated because it's her dinner time and it's already 6. Honey, come on. Or 7. This is her way of saying I need to wrap up class, but we're going to go a little later because you're fun too. Class usually goes about an hour and 15 minutes. She can wait. Hi. Want to give me a kiss? See the flick of the she's getting angry. She wants to eat. Can you wait a couple more minutes? No? You're pissed, aren't you? Wait a few more minutes. I'll feed you. Okay, so as above, so below. Very good. Now, remember when we talked about, yes, I'm coming. Hold on. Remember when we talked about in Qigong, we want to have earth and sky come together, and then in HCRV, we have to we align the 3rd and 4th chakra, right? We bring them together, right? So it's also about drawing the energies together. If you take a look at the actual flowers, the flowers are birth and death, like the calla lilies of death and the roses of love. Some have argued that those are images of birth and death. I don't know if Debbie has had a different interpretation. That's been my interpretation. Yeah, very good, Joyce. Nice grounding energy coming in. Nice, Martha. Metal is cool. That's right. It is a cool, cold cutting. And this is also why with the King of Swords, he appears as like an icy king, right? He's the ice king. How you doing? Yeah, you're hungry, aren't you? You're ready. People have talked about the color, the royal colors that are sometimes used, the reds, the royal blues, these types of imagery. You know, I think it's kind of like the druid. The symbol of infinity above the head also has an energy of balance and healing. Anybody want to say anything about that? He's in the center of the sun or the vortex. What he's tied, the asp, you can see separates the above and below. Now, Kabbalistically, your waist area where he's got the binding, you have the lower desires, right, in men that have to be blocked or contained, right? Like, and then you have the mental stuff, and so it's the separation of the body and the mind also, that the belt was used to block or not to block, but to create this separation between like male aggression and sexuality and all of that, and using your head. And so a belt was put around to remind the magician not to have everything be about passion, but so he girds his loins a little bit. So that was my understanding of the belt. It's to take control of one's base desires or needs and think in terms of something greater. All right, I think we'll do one more and then I'm going to take care of the baby. Anybody have anything else to add to that archetype? Did I get to everything? It's a rich archetype, isn't it? You know, I think when you see it, a person is coming into a position of power. They're about to make things happen. They're pulling things together. They're taking responsibility, etc. So the fool goes on a journey. He brings his tools. He shows up to class at Hogwarts. He unfurls them. Professor McGonagall is there, right? It's that kind of imagery. And then he begins to go through the various different steps of learning how to use energy. Yes, the above the head is a symbol of eternity. Also, the asp, the snake eating itself, which is the coiling around the waist, is similar to the snake eating itself. The second archetype that we move towards is the female. Again, we're looking at yin and yang and a lot of what you'll see in Chinese medicine. It's a lot of information, which is why people ask me to slow down. They'd rather have it be slower and more more information than faster. I don't care. It's all the same to me. It's like you're the students. Whatever makes you happy. He's holding a fire wand, which is burning at both sides, and I was able to show you what an actual real fire wand looks like, and you can, of course, make your own. Okay, so now we have the yin and we have the yang, or the yang and the yin, excuse me, yin and yang. So you open your tools, you go through exercises, you show up to class. Oh, no, Wendy, I know you're not. There's a lot, right? I mean, a lot of people don't know the Chinese medical aspects and how they correlate with the elements, etc. So it's nice to just be able to really see everything. Now, once you get into class and you start studying, then you can graduate, right? So you've got the smarter student, you've got the you've got the you've got the Harry Potters, yes, and then you've got the Hermiones, right? Hermione was smarter, right? She was actually the academic Hermione. She was smarter than Harry Potter. Anytime Harry Potter had a problem, he would ask the academic, right? And it was Hermione that was the academic. Okay, so if we're looking now at the female energy of yin and yang, we've talked about the yang starting. He opens the class, he begins the process of school. It's completed by the feminine. We can see the pomegranates. The pomegranate is said to contain 613 seeds, which are associated with the 613 mitzvot or commandments that you're obligated to keep in the Torah. The idea of the Torah or Jewish mysticism is that with every good deed or action you engage, please don't bite me. I said I was coming. 2 minutes? 2 minutes. That's it. Just 2 minutes. All right, we're going to have to you guys, I'm sorry. We're going to resume with this next week. But basically, she graduates. She holds the Torah, which Ta'or is from the Hebrew bearer of light. We're going to go deeper into this next week. I hope everybody had a fun class. Yes, honey, I'm coming. Please, you don't have to be like this. Here, just go up here for a second. I'm almost done. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. All right. Thank you, everybody. You did great. If you have any more questions about class or any confusion, if you'd like to join us Wednesdays for class, please think about signing up at the Elders and Empaths level. I'm going to go feed my cat. She hasn't had eaten yet. I usually get her. I'm behind. All right. Oh, you're going to do it every week? Great. Well, we're going to be here every week. I think we're going to go through everything, and then we'll go through HCRV quick technique, and then after that, we'll start, after we complete this, we'll start the HCRV series again, and we'll just rotate. We're going to get into other things as well. I want to teach a course for crystals and stones, both their historical significance, their artistic significance, cultural comparisons of stones and various different fetish objects. And I think we're going to include some of the crystals and stone work. How did women healers and male healers use these energies? Does that sound like fun to you all? I hope so. All right. Have an awesome possum. I'm going to go feed my baby. And I guess I will see everybody tomorrow for Hot Topics. It should be a lot of fun. It looks like the 45th president is keeping us all pretty entertained, right? All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be well. All right. Take care. All right, Mila, you're up.